It seems like no matter what 2K it is, at the beginning of the year, it's always so difficult to make a power forward build because those builds are asked to do so many things in comp rec or comp pro am. So in this video, I'm gonna be making what I think is the best starting power forward build for 2K27. Like I said, for those two game modes specifically. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lance. I was in the NBA 2K League for 6 seasons, where I won a championship with the Bucks Gaming, and for the last 2 seasons, I've been USA Basketball's 2K Teams esports coach. We won back-to-back gold medals. So to start this build out, of course, we're gonna go power forward. We're on the NBA 2K HQ app. So we're gonna go power forward. We're gonna go 6'7". We're gonna go 221 pounds. And for your wingspan, we're gonna go 7'1". So immediately, I know I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for the weight because that's gonna tie into strength. I don't really have a fight back at this moment for it. I just feel like in the last 2K, strength was a little overrated. It seems like 2K may have made some adjustments there, but unless you're one of the community day people, none of us has played the game yet. So kind of going a little bit off of how I felt last year, but also just kind of the job of the power forward. We'll kind of get into that play style as we like talk about the attributes in general. So we're gonna click continue here. So we're gonna go down here to physicals. We're gonna start here. I feel like it makes it easier to just build this player out. So for your speed, we're going to go 85. For your agility, we're going to go 85. For your strength, we're going to go 76. And for your vertical, we're going to go 80. Okay, so just to start out, I'm going to talk about strength immediately so we can just get it out of the way. I don't feel like a power forward's job 100% is to just... They go against like a post score. I think you can just put your center on them. But most of the time, their job is just to get a body contact with the center so your other center can come get a rebound. So with that, there's always a case that people and everyone can make to make a higher strength that's going to tie into these box out. Mainly this box out boss badge, right? Like that's what we're going to talk about. A power forward's job is also to help rebound. You're the first body that's usually going to go at the center. Unless centers can just drop step you every play and all of that stuff, I just don't see the point of having high strength when your main job is to make that contact and that's it. Because once you make that like animation contact, they can't jump, then your center can jump. Your center is gonna get the rebound most of the time, and it's all about a positioning game. So unless you're getting wormed in like half a second or less, I fight with like going high strength, especially with how difficult it is to make a powerful build. I'd rather at this moment, if I was to play, have a faster power forward. I'd even want to go up the speed a little bit. I did have high speed, but I ended up taking it down. I had like 89 speed, just to be able to move around and, you know, cause havoc like what a power forward is supposed to do. I feel like we'll see, but there's always adjustments that you can make against a center that plays like that. So this is what we're seeing here for the physicals. The vertical main thing is that gold pogo stick. I think pogo stick is always great to have, especially as a power forward. Jumping, block attempts, everything like that. Just, you got to play it all. Most power forwards have to do everything on the court. So I feel like being able to jump around like that probably be pretty important later down the line. So we're going to jump back up to finishing now. So you know, power forwards, it's like you got to pick your poison early. You either got to, you know, not have any playmaking. You got to have like, you know, one side rebounding, no finishing. Something has to be sacrificed. I did my best here with this to not sacrifice finishing too much, but I think that's the area that had to go. So for close shot, we're going to go with a 71. For driving layup, we're going to go with a 55. For your driving dunk, we're going to go 73. Stand dunk, we're going to go 40. And post control, we're going to leave it at 41. We're going to lock these. So finishing, really, there's really nothing to say about finishing. There's so many attributes we had to put everywhere else. I feel like this is just enough to finish when you're open. If you get caught in the backdoor cut, you just got to go up early with a drive dunk. That is bronze posterizer still, but you're not going to get any contact dunks. But hopefully at least having the bronze posterizer will allow you to, you know, have at least a decent meter when you go up. Other than that, you're really useless in finishing. And you'll see why with the rest of the build. But you really got to like pick your poison with the attributes, and the cap breakers don't even get this build to have like contact dunks or anything like that. So that's just, I think that's how it's going to be with most of your power forwards. And it's just something that unless you make it a priority to finish and like you're part of an offense that as a power forward you have to score the ball like that, I still don't know if you're going to be able to make it a good build, but there's some things you can sacrifice. So the shooting. For your mid-range, we're going to go 68. For your three-pointer, we are going to go with a 78. And your free throw, we're going to go with a 67. So here again, now you could try to push this up to like the 80 mark to just probably have better jump shot animations every year. Who really knows? Like usually the 80 to 83 threshold is always like your best jump shots from the corner. But we're going to have to live with the 78 here. A lot of players I'm seeing are trying to get like that high midi, like an 87, 88 midi. This build can't even get it, but a lot of corner players are targeting this quick trigger badge like heavy. So something to think about when you're doing your build. Fortunately, I'm going to be able to get it with this one. So I don't think early a lot of power forwards are going to be able to have that quick trigger with the first sets of builds. Unless, again, they're making it like a priority to have that badge. But that means they're really sacrificing in other areas. 73 pointer is going to get you the silver set and fire. That's something that we'll definitely want. You know, you're standing in the corner, you shoot the threes. Really nothing else with the shooting here. I would love to be able to take, of course, the three-pointer a little higher. You could probably sacrifice maybe some physicals if you wanted to, but really nothing else. Playmaking here, we're going to go with an 80s pass accuracy. And we're going to just lock all three of those. We're going to go 80, 70. We'll end up going to 61 speed with ball. Pass accuracy, the main thing. I mean, we only get silver break starter. Again, there's just, you know, as a power forward, you're getting a lot of rebounds. Your center's getting a lot of rebounds. Being able to throw the break, especially with like this new pace badge in the game, we'll see kind of how that is. But I wanted to push it to 80. I feel like you could get away with maybe dropping it to like the, I think 60, 65 is the, I just don't want a power forward with that low pass accuracy. I think 80 is still too low, but you got to kind of work with what you have. When it comes to like the defense and rebounding and all that stuff, I think this can get you by. This is an area, of course, like cap breakers can come into play, but probably not till way down the line. So I think the main job here is like if you do get a pass or have to make a pass, there's a chance you can get it down the court. Of course, we got to see the gameplay, but that's where we're at with playmaking. Ball handles with ball, just the minimums with what comes with it. Now, of course, for what a power forward is, we got defense here. So your interior, we're going to go 80. For your perimeter, we're going to go 82. For your steal, I'm going to go 94. And for block, we're going to go 84. Now, as a power forward, as we all know, especially in comp, fives, rec, pro-am, crews, it's going to be, your power forward has to be able to do a little bit of everything and do it well. I always think at the end of the day, when it comes to power forwards, you know, the best of the best are the ones that can cause havoc to get turnovers, you know, be a staple in the defensive back end. I just like always the idea of shooting for the 99 steal. You could, you know, leave it where it is and just live with the gold. I just think every year it always ends up being the case where, now I get early on, right, like sacrificing that and then making another build later as you get cap breakers, but the 99 steal and just seeing some of the mechanics and like the emphasis on how defense is. And then video Joe Knows posted yesterday, and I think Mike Wing talked about it, about people complaining about not being able to blitz the AI and like play nows and stuff. And they kind of said that there's like not exact code in the game, but specifically kind of like it's coded into the game where you can't really blitz those. So like what we were seeing was like you're not able to really blitz the AI, so it kind of looked like that those are out of the game. I think it's going to be in the game, so I'm just going to go 99 steal. At the end of the day, if my power forward needs to get me a steal, they're going to have every badge attribute that they need. The 82 perimeter defense, silver challenger, not the best, but a lot of guards look like they're going like 6'1 to 6'3 maybe. So hopefully being 6'7 with the silver will be good enough to start. And of course with the fuse and reaction stuff, maybe we can boost it up to gold or maybe even Hall of Fame. Interior, now interior is pretty interesting because the main thing that we shot for interior, we just get the paint patroller silver. I've seen some pretty crazy blocks and stuff like that when it came to watching the community today, but you're only 6'7", so I don't know the difference. I'm watching, you know, Klingen from the Trailblazers. I'm watching Victor Wembanyama. So it's just like kind of iffy on like how that mechanic's going to work. And then also it was like a kind of a big emphasis on like interior defense, but also I don't know how much the height matchup. Like I watched, I think it was D-Man or somebody else. I think it was D-Man testing with somebody about like John Morant being able to dunk on, who was it? There was another player. I think it was Scoot Henderson maybe. And then they brought Klingon in and you couldn't dunk on him ever. Like it didn't work one time, but Klingon's like 7'2" or something like that, probably with an insane interior. So it's just like, was it the height difference or was it more the actual interior? Those kind of go together with those big centers. So I don't know if the power forward here, if a 6'6" point guard comes out and a 5 out and you're guarding it, like I don't know how much interior is like enough interior versus what Klingon and all those guys have. So that's just from what I was kind of watching and registering my head. But I think it's a great starting point for majority of the kind of guards you're going to run into. It's going to be rare. You might for sure run into a 6'6", 5 out team, but most of the guards you're going to play are going to be much smaller. And so we'll see how it goes though. I think 80 is a good starting point. If we drop it down with C2, you do get the wall up animation, something I wanted to try to at least minimally get because they had an emphasis of it in the paint. So if you go against a post fade or hook kind of guard, I don't know what all kind of going to happen with the wall up, but being able to stand right next to the rim, put your hands up, the center is trying to go up and they're missing because you have wall up. I just think it's something that there's an emphasis on it a little bit. So let's make sure our player has it. The only badge that I wish that I would like to get higher, and again, this is where you can sacrifice, is maybe a pick dodger, but that's not really like going to happen a lot when you're power forward. Mainly just kind of depends on the defensive style you play, if you switch and those kind of aspects. But in general, I think defense right here is as good as it can get. If you lower the steal, of course, you're going to have a lot more other areas to add. But if I'm going to put my first 5 cap breakers on a build, having one of the first 99 steal back ends, I just think it gives confidence to me to know that there's a 99 steal in the court. But really just depends on your play style. If you're not sitting in lanes, if you're going and playing solo rec, 99 steal is always fun to have. And then block, of course, like we just talked about it, the paint patroller and stuff like that. So next one's rebounding. Now this one kind of seems obvious, but for some players, this is like a different style. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. Not a different style, but it just seems obvious, but I just want to make sure and emphasize it. So defensive rebound, we're going to start there. We're going to go 90. We're just going to max it out. As a power forward, your number 2 job is to help rebound. Like you got to put box on players. That unlocks us to get the silver box out boss, which is pretty good. We do end up also getting the sink snatcher, so being able to jump higher, like perfectly timed, which will help us. And then we get possession closer, ability to track down and grab rebounds on the defensive end. So we get all the stuff that we need. Now here's where like another fork in the road is for some power forwards. Like there's a definite case to leave it at 65 because you're not really probably going to be an offensive rebounder. For me specifically, if I was to build like my perfect pro-am team or rec 5's team, we're all playing, I want a power forward and my lock to both have rebound. So I'm going to go take this to an 80. I know that seems obvious. It's like, well, yeah, you're a power forward, your job is rebound, but keeping that down to 65 allows you to like adjust other stuff so much. But having 2 players in the corners and then having this crasher badge, and like, I know as a guard, like our guards can put shots up, and then these 2 players are flying in, holding putback dunks, and the corner players are getting lazy and they're starting to take off, and now we're getting free putback dunks because our center is boxing with the other center. I just think it gives us more chances for extra possessions. Again, it's a play style kind of thing. Does seem obvious to put rebounding on a power forward, but I was just saying preference if I was to build my own pro-am team, which kind of all my players that I put on my channel would be like perfectly in sync, in my opinion, for like a pro-am team is how I would build a pro-am team. So that's where the 80 rebound comes into play. Is there's going to be hopefully a lock in one corner with a high rebound and then a lock or a power forward in the other corner, or at least one of them having it. So if your lock doesn't have it, your power forward has it. So you can have 2 players that can help get offensive possessions back. So yeah, that unlocks that crasher badge like we said. So that is it. So we kind of go up here. Let's look at some of the badge tokens that we get. So we have only 4 finishing, which would all go into the driving dunk. Now you only need bronze. So again, that's just something to think about. Maybe, you know, I don't know how many tokens that might cost, probably 1 or 2. It's only bronze. You do get, you know, float game. I would assume you would want Ghost Stepper. You'd probably want to, you know, do Paint Prodigy. You got to do Aerial Wizard because that's the putback dunk. So you won't even have enough to do it, because I would assume Aerial Wizard's probably like 2 or 3. And then you'll maybe, if Aerial Wizard's 2 at silver, then you have to pick between Posterizer, Ghost Stepper, and Paint Prodigy. So it's going to be interesting, because I wouldn't waste any bonus tokens on that. And if there's a lot of breakdowns on that stuff, but I can, if I need to make a breakdown video of it, which I will whenever I get the real game, actually in my hands and able to manipulate it, then we'll talk a little bit more about that. Shooting, you should be able to pretty much get every shooting badge here, I think, if I was to estimate. So we're good there. We don't have to talk about that. Playmaking, now this is, you're not gonna get all of these. You know, I would assume you'd want Break Starter, Versatile, probably Dimers. That's probably all of them. You might be able to get Strong Handle or Unpluckable, maybe. Defense 15, I have no clue to even what to say here, so I'm not really gonna take too much time on it. Who knows how much some of these badges cost. You don't get to see that here. Rebounding, 11 just seems like not that much when there's a Hall of Fame badge there, but we'll see. And then physicals only having 10. I don't know, there's a lot of gold there. We'll just see how expensive they are. So with that, we're going to go look at the builder glossary. We'll look at what the build name is later in the video, and the shades of. So here, I just want to show you the cap breakers in the top right. Make sure you're checking that if you're making your build. So as you can see, driving dunk, we cannot +5 it to get 87. That's the minimum for contacts. This build doesn't get it. I wouldn't even waste your time trying to shoot for that. There's +5s you can do in other areas that will just benefit you more. So let's look at shooting. Again, really with shooting, you could use some cap breakers, but not your first 5. Your first 5 was for sure going to go to defense, but just to show you what is capable on this build. Playmaking here. Now 90 pass hack, that'd be great to get. I don't know. I think 89 is gold break starter. So for sure, that'd be an area later down the line to think about you wanting to put it there. One thing that's pretty interesting is it does end up getting an 81 speed with ball, which is pretty cool. So you'll be able to move around the court pretty quickly. Biggest one here, in my opinion, always the steal to 99. I wouldn't really boost the other ones up, maybe perimeter, but I don't see the benefit of doing any of that. Our rebounding is maxed out, can't even go any higher. And then our physicals, you can get a 90 speed with this build, 82 strength, 87 vertical. So really with this build, I would say the biggest things are like probably playmaking, maybe a little bit your shooting and your defense, if you want to go that way. Look at the takeovers here. So shooting wise, we only have a 78, so we don't really get any of the takeovers besides the default stuff. But playmaking, we do get Dishmaster, which was always a badge that later in the year was like really utilized by a lot of players. Defense, we do get the Hawk one, which Mike Wing just tweeted out a new update on Hawk. So I think on this, it's on ball steals and lane steals based on the X post or whatever post it was that I seen earlier, just literally like probably a few hours ago. Rim Guardian, it's always a good one. Almost everybody's gonna be using Hawk. It just makes sense. And then now our rebounding. So we do get second chance, instantly see feedback on all shot, and increased chance of successful putbacks. It's cool, but that's not something you're going to use. So it's really just Hawk for this build. And then, I mean, animations, we can kind of talk about them, but we don't really know enough about it. I mean, the biggest one that will always be something that you should think about is your motion style on like what you can get. I don't even remember the best ones from last year, but that'd be something to like check out before you finalize your build, is if there's any info that comes out on what the best motion styles are, if anyone's testing those already or one of the content creators is, then that'd be something to look at. All right, with that, let's go look at the shades of. So we are a glass cleaning lock. I like that. We are Draymond Green, Scotty Barnes, and Paul George. Pretty insane 3. Our strengths, boxes out and gobbles defensive rebounds. Gets ahead in fast breaks. Rim protector who changes offensive schemes. Versatile enough to guard 3s in space. Weakness, generally has to finish below the rim inside. No presence in the low post. So everything that you wanted to hear, you kind of heard there, and the shades of are pretty crazy. You got Prime Draymond. Scotty Barnes is good. Ideally, we have Prime Paul George, but we'll take Celtics Paul George. That's fine. And that'll do it for this video. That was my breakdown of the best power forward for comp buys, whether it's rec or pro-am. If you're a content creator, there's a tool in the description below called Launch Lens. It helps with thumbnails, titles, descriptions, tags, pretty much anything that you need as a content creator. It helps speeds up your workflow and helps you just actually get back to creating content instead of all the extra stuff. Also, check out the Discord link in the description below. I have a pro-am team called Off Grid that I'm always recruiting players for. So if you're a comp player who wants to get in the mix of playing against some of the best or just playing in scenes like that, go ahead and check that out. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.